Good morning. This is Minister Sherman. How is everybody doing? I know you might see me with the same little orange and shirt on, but this is my work stuff. It is clean, so I'm not out here just wearing the same dirty stuff. But anyway, I want to talk about making it through your wilderness experience. Making it through your wilderness experience. And a lot of times when you come out of Egypt, when you come out of your sin, when you come out of living how you want to live, doing what you want to do, making money the way you make money, hustling and anything else that you may do, manipulating the system, all these things we do. When you come out of that and you submit to the Lord, what you go through a lot of times is the wilderness experience, where it's a testing of your faith by where God now allows himself to take care of you through your faith versus you doing things on your own and making it happen illegally or by a hustle or just unrighteous ways of supporting your lifestyle or anything else you may be doing, right? So what God does is he takes you into himself. You have a righteous mindset, and in the righteous mindset, now you're utilizing faith in God in order to make it, or order to succeed. In many different things, right? So now you stop driving and you let God drive. And what happened with the children of Israel is when they stopped driving, when they was in Egypt, they had things catered to them. Now when they got with God in the wilderness, they had to solely depend on God to take care of them, and for God to provide, and for God to make sure he made good on his word. But in that, it was scary for them, because they wasn't used to living by faith. They was used to making it happen, or somebody able to do it for them themselves, or somebody was able to give it to them, right? So it was hard for them to make it through the wilderness experience. But anytime you come with God, you go through the wilderness experience, where now you have to live by faith before you get the next level promises of God, right? You have to go through this experience. And so I had to even go through that experience. So I want to let you know that if you're in the wilderness experience, just stay the course. The going back to sin, or going back to your old hustle, or going back to the way you used to do things to feel secure in your lifestyle, or to feel secure in yourself that you're going to make it, that's not what you want to do. It's going to be a difference when you're living by faith versus when you was just living in the world doing your own thing. It can get scary at times because you really have to depend on your faith. And so the children of Israel wanted to go back, because they wasn't used to depending on God. They wanted God to move how things were being moved in the world when they were in bondage. But faith is different than bondage. You know what I mean? You are in bondage when you are enslaved to the flesh, or to the way, or to your own lifestyle, the way you like to do things. But in the wilderness experience, you solely have to depend on God. And so if you're in that position where you living by faith, because the just shall live by faith, when God has you in the wilderness experience, when you living by faith, stay that course. Stay the course, because the promised land is near. The promised land is near. I'm telling you, when God finished with you in the wilderness, the promise is not even going to be compared to whatever you thought you had when you was in the world. Whatever lifestyle you thought you had when you was in the world, when you received a full promise, you're not even going to be able to compare the two. That's how glorious it's going to be once you come through that wilderness experience. So I want to oblige you to come out, to not go back to Egypt, to not go back to your old ways, do not go back to your old lifestyle, because you're living by faith right now and it is scary. Don't trust in how you used to do things. Trust in how God is doing things. Okay? And because when you come out of the wilderness experience, the promise is yours for the taking. And the land and everything they had in the promised land was not even to be compared to what they had in Egypt. I mean, God expounded their land. Their garden was grown. I mean, the land flowing with milk and honey. I mean, it was so much better in the promise than what they had when they were in the world or in bondage. But they had to go through the wilderness experience. And so don't let your wilderness experience take you back to bondage, take you back to sin, take you back to your old lifestyle, take you back to your old hustle, because you don't want to use faith to trust God. But I'm telling you, if you use faith to trust God, when you get that promise, it's going to be worth it. I went through it. You know what I mean? I was hustling, manipulating the system, had my own house and apartment and stuff by I won't just say unfavorable gains illegally and things like that. Just hustling, making sure I can live. But when I got my righteous mindset and I submitted to God, when I gave up that way of hustle, I had to live by faith. I was living in my car. I had clothes in my car. I had to give to homeless people out of the back of my truck when I was homeless myself. So I went through a wilderness experience that I never really experienced. But I had to stay the course. I had to go through sleeping in the park. I had to go through sleeping in my car. I had to go through not having a car. I had to go through not having enough money. You know what I mean? Now that I'm really trusting God. But that was all me. But God still was, through faith, he was still carrying me through that stuff. Right? So after I came out of my wilderness, man, I can't even tell you how glorious I am now. I got 5 times more than what I had when I was in the world. Five times more than I had when I was hustling. You know what I mean? I want to get into all what God has blessed me with, but trust me, it's favorable in the promised land. I'm not going back to Egypt. I'm glad I didn't go back to Egypt. So I want to encourage anybody right now who's listening to this teaching. If you're in the wilderness, don't be fearful. Stay the course. Get the promise. Don't go back to Egypt. I promise you, God got you and you will be blessed. Amen.